What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, ready for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. Because remember, the cause don't stop when the clock hits zero. And we got a fun show tonight. Of course, I'm going to bring in my co-hosts and got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about and everything. And, we're going to talk about some NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about how the Rebels soccer team and baseball team finished their seasons. And, of course, we're going to preview that big scrimmage on Friday against Gibbs. Finally, some football that we can finally just kind of get a little tease to hold us over the summer. And August will be here before we know it, for those scrimmages. And then, of course, you got the big old jamboree. And then, of course, you hit your schedule and so forth. And then it's playoffs. And, hopefully we're bringing in another championship. But that being said, as always, we love your support. Hit that comment box up. Talk to us what you want to talk about. If you got questions, bring it. We're excited about this. And, of course, we've got to talk about on Friday that we hope to go live. And I mean this, we hope to go live with the show after the scrimmage, us there at the Gibbs Corryton Stadium and so forth like that. Hopefully they'll let us have a little bit of time there and talk, but it's definitely football time. There is the great Michael Lynn. It's football time, baby. It is. You feel it in the air. You can tell I'm excited. There's just something different about it, especially when you got these two beautiful babies behind me and the fact that we have been champs for now going, good evening, brother, 522 days and counting. So, and we're 5A. We are the standard of 5A. And until somebody knocks us off their perch, then we are the standard of 5A. And that ain't being cocky. That's just being facts right there, okay? But, of course, we got a message for the kids as they have gone through these spring drills. They're excited, and they're going to show their stuff. The 2024 version of these Rebels coming up, going to show their stuff Friday against a very good, talented Gibbs team who is no slouch either. My boy Shane O'Mac's going to talk about them a little bit and what they did last year. But that being said, want to give some shout-outs to our sponsors. First and foremost, my gal, Miss Kim Castle over at King's Chamber. Go pay her a visit. You might not see the sign up yet. They're still working on that. They're still working on getting that pedicure and manicure thing going, but she can still do the waxes. I mean, I just had my eyebrows, nose, and ear done. She does the haircuts and the beard trim. I know I don't got much on top, but she'll do it real nice for you. If you got a full head of hair, or she'll buzz it completely off, whatever you want her to do. And obviously the shoulder massages too. So definitely go pay her a visit. Washington Pike. You'll definitely feel like a king at that chamber. Also, our boy Alex Thatcher, Knoxville Coffee Company in the heart of Marble City there on Sutherland Avenue. Go pay him a visit, buy you some brew. It'll get you through the day, start your mornings off great, even nice, calm you down in the evening type of thing. So pay them a visit over at Knoxville Coffee Company. My boy Alex Thatcher over there off of Sutherland Avenue in the heart of Marble City. And as always, remember, the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or West High School. This is solely the staff and hosts of Rebels with a Cause, whether it's myself, Two-Pair Tate, or Shane O'Mac, Shane McGee. Any of our guests, those are their opinions, not that of the school or the companies they work for. So just keep that in mind as always. And we're always going to have a good time. So without further ado, I've talked enough. Want to get my co-hosts on here, give them the respect and love that they always deserve. They're just as excited and giddy about not only tonight's show, but also Friday as we go live after the scrimmage, Rebels with a Cause there in Corryton, special Friday night edition and so forth. But going to be really exciting, in the weather holding up, thank God, because I was watching it for the last few days just to see, are we going to do it, we're going to not, but it's looking really good. So, but without further ado, let me bring him on first. You know him as the Mr. 2003 West. You know him as the voice of the Rebels and Lady Rebels for 18 plus years on the court there at wonderful gymnasium of West High School. And also, if you hand him a mic, he's going to embarrass you worse than Drake. Or I don't really know about all that, but he's going to explain that to us tonight too, because we got all that sorts of stuff to talk about. And we want to hear from your chat box what you think about that too. But without further ado, everywhere in the area, give it up for the one, the only, the great Two-Pair Tate, Brian Tate. Bring him on, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, oh, thank you for the intro, man.
Always, my brother.
So I gotta say this. I gotta shout out some of my sponsors. We gotta put them up here.
Go for it, bud.
My dudes at Razor Sharp Barbershop, way down west on the country side of things. My man Josh Fink, my man Corey Booker, they are doing their thing out there. Razor Sharp Barbershop. Knoxville.
And do me a favor, two-pair, email me or text me their information, the address and the phone number. I will put that banner up for you, man.
Yeah. Also shout out to Gams Barbershop down on University too. You know, we got to shout them out. Nappy Wings, we got to shout out Nappy Wings. Bunch of other people, man. I'm gonna get you all that information. We about to have all the sponsors.
Absolutely, man. This thing is growing. They supporting the cause. So,
they supporting the cause. They supporting the cause. They supporting the cause. Yeah, supporting the rebels in the cause. I'm really excited for. We've got basketball coming up on the 13th. We got football Friday night. It's a good time to be a rebel, man. Like, it's a lot of good stuff coming out right now. Like, far as just I'm loving what I'm seeing on the women's side with Coach Graves. I have not seen the women's side this active. Like, active. So I feel like we're closing out with baseball, soccer. You know, we're closing it out, and now it's like we're getting prepared for the mindset of what fall should be like.
And you know what's crazy? It's funny you bring that up in a really serious, awesome way. I almost feel like it is a brand new page, like no pun intended. Like you're turning the page. This is the end of the 2023 2024 year of the sports, and schools finishing up. Proms are done now, and now you're starting to get into graduations. Seasons are starting to end in the spring sports, and now it's like you've got tryouts coming out. Like, you know, you hope to, I'm going to let you talk about that later in the show with the basketball coming up and so forth. And then, of course, football wrapping up this week with the big spring scrimmage against Gibbs on Friday. And it's just giving you that little bit of tease of what next year, you know, even baseball themselves is having tryouts at the end of May, you know, so they're already starting to get ready for next year, even though their season, ended in a disappointing fashion. You know, they did manage to beat William Blount to continue in the district tournament, but ultimately fell 7-2 to Hardin Valley, and the season was over. And salute to those 10 seniors that were on the team. But they got a lot of young talent coming back, and hopefully they'll rebound next year. And then, of course, soccer ended their season. Sadly, there was a weather delay yesterday. They called the game with 13 minutes left. I don't know if West could have tied it, maybe sent the game to overtime, but unfortunately they fell to the Maryville Rebels 2-1. So that ended soccer season. But the JV team did very well, and I'm hoping that a lot of the kids that were on that team will make that next step to play varsity, along with the kids coming back from varsity, and they should have a better year next year. Last year they made an appearance in the sub-state and so forth, and the year before that they got to state. So this was one of those years that was just a little bit of a down year, but I think that they'll be right back in the mix next year. I just think this was one of those transition years that happens sometimes with a program, you know what I mean, type of a thing. So, but shout out to them and so forth. Before we go into it, I want to bring in our newest staff member. He, of course, made his appearance last week, and he's now going to be a full member on staff of us. We love to have him now that he's done with his thing at Beard, even though he's still got a kid over there, and that's all good and everything. We'll worry about that later. He's all heart. He's all rebel. He's a true rebel with a cause. He always knows what he's talking about, brings great stories, and has a lot of knowledge about all sports, and definitely is a true rebel with a cause with everything that he does. Let's breathe it up for the one and only Shane O'Mac. Shane McGee, what is up, bud?
What's up? How we doing tonight?
What's up, man?
Great.
I love how everybody has their definitive look. I feel like this is real Pat McAfee-ish. Like
one of us got to stand up the whole time.
Yeah, well, you know what? We got that, and so forth. So, hey, my man Kerry's on. How about that? Runs the scoreboard at the West football games. He's part of the staff as well. So, yep.
Kerry, I used to see Kerry security guard all the big games. If it was not a big game, like if Kerry was at your high school game, it was a big game.
Yeah.
Like Kerry, like that's one thing I will say, like, of all the big memorable games I've ever played or went to, there's like faces that stick out. He's one of those familiar faces that like just you'll never be able to forget.
and such a wonderful man, and has so much love for the kids and everything that he's done. Whether he was at Bearden, at West, wherever, he's always brought it. And like you said, always being at the big games and so forth. And I love what he's saying there. 522 days going on 622. Amen, brother. I mean, honestly, we're just going to keep this thing going. I know that we all don't like Roman Reigns, but I mean this. This is only the second or third inning. I'm looking at the ninth inning on this and so forth. So
you think they can go? You think they can go? Can they go 1,200 days?
Yep, I think they can. I think they can. That would be 2 more state titles and so forth, and that would get them to 1,200. Pretty close. So yeah.
Does West become the new Maryville and Alcoa?
If we called it, I think just because of the talent of kids and the whole community, they've bought in and they've invested, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, they've invested like I've never seen anything like it.
I've never seen an investment like this, to where they've got a show, like we're talking about, like, dude, this is happening in real time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
they've got all Sutherland Avenue, the whole part of Kingston Pike, basically from like Food City down to the Strip.
Yep,
it's all West.
Yeah, and even over to Rocky Hill, even down over there to Rocky Hill and so forth, like that. That's
it gets a little choppy right there between them and the Bulldogs, but it's, you don't get that anywhere else. Like, look at everywhere else, you do not get that. Maybe there are smaller communities like Halls and stuff like that, but
we have carved it out. Like, and you want to know something? I love the slogan. I think that it was a little hard to digest because we had not been united as a school, as a community, but it really is now one West. And credit to Lamar Brown for creating that, and it starts at the top, Dr. Spees, it talks about, you talk about Romero and Carruthers, the administration, down to the faculty, the kids that you brought in, the staff. And, Lamar even said it himself, yes, he's the head guy, Scott Shavers, everything that he does behind the scenes and so forth. But this staff together likes each other. Everybody loves each other. It's a true community. And, when you see the amount of support that was down in Chattanooga, old players, players that just graduated a couple of years ago, parents, and stuff like that. I mean, it really is one West, and we're a force. And until that force, gets broken up, which I don't foresee it. I mean, we've lost some good parents, but we've got some parents for these up and coming kids that really want to continue the all the stuff that they do for the kids, the goodie bags, the meal preparations, the everything, it's really something special to be a part of. And if they've got over 100 kids, invested in this thing, I mean, they've got talent. They've got a lot of kids that are going to be stepping up, and Friday is their time to show. It's a scrimmage, but at the same time, you're not hitting your brothers, you're hitting the other team. What do you guys think about all that?
I think, given everything we've gone through and how we've been through, how it's just, once again, like, the community support is just amazing. But these kids are bought in, they're invested. When kids are bought in and invested like that, you're unstoppable. You've got the support, and plus, come on, you get to go hit somebody, or even hit your teammates for the past couple of weeks. Oh, please let me go hit somebody, and I can lay all this aggression out. So we know how those practices were. They were brutal. Mm-hmm. Spring practice was rough, not as rough as camp in the summer, but you're ready to go hit somebody.
Yeah.
And get a well-deserved break, but you won't put it out to the world that you know what you're ready to play. And of course, your game quality game, well, not quality game reps, but your game, the coach is going to see what you're basically under lights. Friday night lights. You're doing game situations, and you can see what you have. And then you can throw your JV and your freshman so you can step up. Who's going to be that valuable backup?
Or the other thing too, do you have a season like you had a couple years ago where you're just running people off the field and the running clock is already going because you've already upped that 30 points and you're getting a lot of the young guys some big time experience, big time. That wasn't there last year. We found creative ways to win, but man, if they did come up with another season where they're rolling everyone and so forth and get a lot of the younger guys, why can't it get to 1,200 days or 1,400 days and so forth?
What's good to see is where they were running teams off the field, you get running clock, is the starting players that were in those for those quality until you got up to that point, they never slack off.
They don't.
And the JV came in because it's JV kids, and I just lost everything.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they look like from spring camp to actually hitting somebody. Like, I want to see, like, are we a physical team or are we going to be a finesse team? Like, what? I want to see the standouts. Like, I want to see how our defensive line looks because I feel like to win a state championship, you got to have a very good defensive and offensive line.
It's all about the trenches. It's hands out about the trenches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's the thing. It's interesting you bring that up too, Pear, because, I mean, obviously you lose Carver and Whitesell off the offensive line, but you had 6 guys that were in that rotation. 4 of them are coming back, got a lot of young guys. So they're looking for that 5th starter at this point. So they are great on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, it's a different story. I mean, you lose an all-state in C.J. Smith going to Tennessee, Chattanooga. Mohammed was solid there in the middle as well. Of course, DeRoche is back, but you also lose Joey Wilson, who was a solid senior contributor like Doug Gwynn getting back there on 3rd down. So you've got the young guys. I think about Nalaja Dickey. I think about some of these other guys that are Leggett and those guys that weren't playing that much last year. And now it's their time to step up. And of course, when you have a piece like DeRoche up front, that's just a complete animal and just really gets after it, it makes the job of the guys next to you a little bit easier, but you got to bring your weight as well to get after that quarterback. So.
Yeah, you definitely do. I think when you lose a guy like, C.J. Smith, but the defense, when you look at the Ryan Scotts, what I'm saying, like, you lose those guys, like the Anderson Smith.
Anderson Smith, yeah, who just signed with Wofford. So yeah,
Wofford, like, that's a lot of talent at the linebacker.
He's got a little brother coming up.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
At 7th grader, so he'll be there in a few years.
Yeah.
And of course, they got the NFL pet. They got the college pedigree with their dad. Chavis played.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, CJ Smith's little brother. Yeah, he's coming up.
Yeah, my son played with him a couple years back.
So. Yeah. So, well, here's the other thing too. You look at, talk about the DBs too. I mean, you had 2 solid guys back there in Marshawn Bowers and Six Horde, who was your MVP, that had the 3 interceptions against Page, as well as batted that ball down at the end that cinched the back-to-back. I mean, that's going to be rough to replace. But you got a kid in Antoine Burdine that I think is just going to blow up this year, and also Anterior.
Burdine, you're really high on Burdine.
I am all in Burdine. He's going to show something.
I feel like he has that explosiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he could be the guy that we're going to be talking about like every single week.
I mean, him and DeRoche are like the two dudes that, and then let's not forget Jack Keith, not only our basketball guy, but I mean, he had 108 tackles last year next to Ryan Scott, and he's going to be hitting people, and so forth, honestly. So I'm excited to see what Jack Keith does this year as a senior. So,
yeah. I'm really excited about Jack Keith. I'm excited about Jack Keith in basketball as well.
Absolutely. I mean, they like I said, and here's another kid that I'm really expecting to take a next step because you saw flashes last year, but this year, I mean, he could be a very big contributor as a wide receiver, and whoever they decide on quarterback has a good target in David Drata. I mean, David Drata had a couple of big catches against Bearden last year and also against Powell. So, I mean, I'm just saying that that's a kid that I'm really thinking is going to be a big time contributor. And also, I'm excited about Corey Person, 6'3", 160-pound target. I mean, that's nice to have that type of height at the high school level, honestly, a big target like that. And he was injured for a lot of last year. So he's got something to prove this year on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm a big fan of Battling Me, man. I'm a big fan of those two guys. I'm really wanting to see what they do Friday night as well. Like I'm really hot on those two kids.
Yeah. Shane, I wanted to ask you something, but with how spring practice goes and so forth, it's an opportunity to kind of show the coaches, look, I am ready to be the guy, and so forth. And of course, now you're going against a quality opponent in Gibbs. I mean, honestly, I don't know what they bring back, but they were very reliant on Brockwell last year. I believe he led the Knoxville Football League in the 5-star preps area with 27 touchdowns on the ground and also 1,286 yards. So I don't know if he comes back this year, but if he does, that's a heck of a piece to come back with that he was their whole team. Talk about Gibbs last year, man. What were they like and so forth?
Gibbs, let me pull up their stats real quick over here.
Sure.
Close everything in. There we go.
Yeah,
all right, so looking at a 10-3 record last year. They scored 449 points and allowed 293. They were 4-1 in the district, which is 4A Region 2. Lost one game at home and 2 on the road. Looking at their scores from last year, let me pull those up. How bad were they beating teams? Union County last year, 56-6. Halls had a great team, a great start to their season. That one was 24-13. Carnes, they dismantled. Seymour dismantled. I mean, there was a shutout against Seymour, 49-20 Carnes, 55-13 South Doyle, Campbell County, 56-28. They score, and they score a lot.
Yeah.
So that means the defense is putting in work. The offense was not solid, especially you got, is it 1,200 yards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Brockwell kid had 1,286 on the ground, 27 total touchdowns. So
yeah, I mean that shows that line and his ability as a back is just brutal.
The interesting thing that I didn't see about them, I didn't notice, like, I'm sure they have a quarterback and they pass the ball when they needed to, but like you mentioned, the offensive line was more ground and pound heavy and control the clock, it seemed like.
Yeah.
More than anything.
It's just look at the scores that followed them. I mean, they lost to Greenville 42-0. So that one, I mean, Greenville's been good. Mm-hmm. Northview Academy up there in Kodak, that one went into overtime. 28-27. They took care of Fulton 59-30.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Years ago, you would never said that. Anderson County, who had a down year, in my opinion, after winning their state title the year before, they took care of Gibbs 55-6. So
and you see, just to compare,
or anything like that, never know. But I felt Anderson County was down last year, so they took care of Gibbs on that one. Yeah,
Anderson County gave West everything that we could handle. I think we only won that game 8-7 or what have you. It was, yeah, but we beat them.
Well, I say we refer to my old program, but first half, little rough, little tight game, but then second half, we blew them out. We blew them out. So Anderson County was up and down after winning that state title year before.
Yeah.
Mo East was only a 7-point game. Mo East was a pretty good team last year.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, Gibbs came in and dominated who they played. There's a few games here and there that, kind of a toss, but even their losses, the Anderson County one was rough, Greenville, and Halls. I mean, Halls was their closest in with it. So when they lost, they lost. But when they won, it was convincing.
Yeah. And how far did they get in the playoffs, by the way? Did they get to the first or second round?
Let me look. Based off weeks, I would say it looks like they got to Northview Academy would be private school. So I would say they made it to the first round.
First round. Okay.
First round of the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, that's a successful season. I mean, that you at least got to the playoffs. I mean, you're talking about a school that didn't even play one home game a couple of years ago because they were waiting for their new stadium.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those kids are tough. Those kids are tough. That community's very tight-knit up there in Corryton.
Mm-hmm.
They used to be 5A, too, before they dropped down to 4A. They used to be 5A and everything. Mm-hmm. So when we won the first state title in 2014, they were a 5A school because I remember we scrimmaged them at the Jamboree, and they were also like one of the contenders that year with South Doyle and that group and so forth. Like,
I got surprised that we'd go up against a district rival or district team in the Jamboree because normally you throw in a different one. Because I remember Bearden a couple years back went up against Powell when they had Walter Nolan.
Yeah, and you want to see those sexy matchups, you know, like Bearden's playing Central on Friday night, and that should be a interesting. Like if they were playing Thursday night, or Thursday night, I would have gone to that one just to see what Central and Coach Lane. Shout out to Coach Lane and how his team looks, you know, and the fact that he's going up against Bearden, the kids he's been coaching the last couple of years. That's kind of intriguing.
That was probably they already set that whole thing up beforehand. So.
I think so too. And then next week, Powell and Alcoa are going to throw down in a scrimmage at Alcoa.
That would be a good one, I think.
Powell and Alcoa, and you see, Powell's got to prove that they can replace their whole offensive line, and of course, Steven Souls, the Kentucky commit. Obviously, you know they've got their guys that speak for themselves. There's their quarterback Deuce and the running back that they have, and all the skill players. But do you have an O line to block for them? You know, Alcoa. I mean, they're bringing back the guy that's committed to Michigan, Eli Owens or what have you. So, I mean, they're going to be solid again. So
I have coached against Eli. I met the kid personally. Amazing kid. Kid. Very talented. One of the first conversations I had with him afterwards. He's friends with one of my daughter's friends, and all hanging out over his house one night. And first thing he's like, First thing he asked was, how hard was it to scout against me, and where should I work on my game at? And this was him as an 8th grader.
Wow. He just takes it seriously. That's how you know.
He's such a humble kid, too. And he's good with the ball. He's good with basketball, too. I'm watch that kid.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, we should go to Tennessee because that's the school they love, but hey, go be where you're best at.
Hey, listen, when the defending national champions call you, I don't care who is their coach now or whatever, and they say you're good enough to play at that level, because let me just tell you this, guys, Michigan's been one of the premier programs the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, yeah, they got dominated a couple of times, but when they needed to win that title, they won that title and went toe-to-toe with Alabama. So they did. I mean,
he had an offer from Alabama, too.
Yep. Yeah. So, but Two-Pair, let me ask you something real quick about this game on Friday. In your opinion, I know it's a scrimmage, and you know, I guess talk about it from a standpoint. If West goes in there and just kind of struggles a little bit and so forth, obviously you're not going to have Parker Dubon, who's in the mix for the starting quarterback job. He's still finishing up baseball. You might have some guys that are still finishing up track and spring sports that weren't maybe available. I guess my question is, you really can't get a good read on it, whether you blow them out or you win tight or, even dare say lose. What do you expect that we are to learn about this at this point?
Well, I just want to see like who's established that they're going to be the starters once we get in the fall camp. Like, who are the established guys that are stepping to the forefront, and who are the leaders of the team? That's what I kind of want to see from the first scrimmage to gauge how it's going to look throughout summer camp, because I judge it because of how they've looked every year. When you're the defending state champion in that class, in that region for 2 years in a row, what does it look like from spring to summer to fall? Because that's how football teams are gauged, and they're on a quest to do something that no other school has done, and it's getting reported like it's like up to the minute. I've never seen a school like that has that many eyes on them, just in the nation and in the region.
Come on,
because
now.
We're talking about you got former players creating a show to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing too.
20 years removed.
Well, and let me just say this real quick. The fact that you are
we live in a time. We've been out of school 20 years plus.
Yeah.
And we're doing a show about kids that have won back-to-back state titles and haven't lost in over 500 days again. Like, dude, if you would have told me as an 18-year-old I would be doing that as an adult.
I know.
Dude, I just had a crazy, out of body experience just now. Just thinking, we're having a conversation about this.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought that we would be at this level as a football program, but it makes me smile. I mean, listen, I rep my stuff all the time, and I'm proud of it. Yes, I wear this and so forth like that. I'm proud of the school, and it's an amazing. I wish I would have won one as a player. We all wish that, but the thing is that they did something, and they're going to be immortalized. I don't exaggerate that. I mean, the fact that you can go back to that stadium, look on those banners, and you see state champion underneath 22, state champion under 2023, and maybe you see it under 2024. I mean, dude, Maryville has a whole line of those things. I'm sure Alcoa does over there at Pistol Creek. I mean, it's awesome that it ain't just state semifinals anymore. It's state champions.
Back in our day, we were just happy to make the playoffs.
Yes.
It's good to say that.
Yeah. We were competing with Halls or Powell for that 3rd or 4th seed, because it was always Maryville and Central 1 and 2 back then in that region. So, honestly, you had to beat Powell and Halls to get the 3rd seed. People were already counting automatic losses to Central and Maryville, unfortunately, back then. So, yeah, I mean, but now West is like, well, here's the other thing too. We talked about it before, and 5-Star Preps is entitled to their opinion and so forth, but you counted us out last year. We went ahead and won state again, and then you're going to rank us preseason 7 behind those other teams. I say maybe 3 or 4 or whatever, not 7. And until somebody shows that they are the class of 5A, I say we're up there, because when that poll comes out, and granted it's just a poll, it's done by the Tennessee Writers and so forth, I expect nothing less than for us to be number 1 and Page number 2. And that's how it should be until somebody proves otherwise, that we lose that number 1 spot. We held it almost all year last year.
I think what it is they don't know how well we're going to reload, because we have relied on a lot of our stars, even though we've had good backups. They want to see how you're going to reload. You don't return a whole bunch of starters. Like, well, they're going to drop. And it's always going to be that way until you prove them wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the West Bearded game, that came down to the final 14 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And probably the hottest game of the year, probably.
Oh, my God, that was miserable.
Yeah.
I coached a football game that morning. We literally got that game moved because it was West and Bearden playing that morning for a bunch of games for the youth league. Got those games moved to earlier in the day just so we go beat the high school game by 12.
Wow.
You know what I'm really impressed with, though?
What's that?
I'm impressed with the schedule. I'm really impressed with the schedule. Look,
Talk about the schedule, Two-Pair. Talk about it.
The game that, of course, that everybody has marked. Of course, the first game of the season is televised. So this is who leaves their mark on the field on a big televised game. August the 24th, away at Bearden.
And I think he's going to put it on Channel 6 again, by the way. He did.
Is that at Bearden now, or is it still?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And I've got to ask somebody, because what's really weird, Shane, and you would know better than me last year, did Bearden really only have 4 home games last year? Because I thought it was supposed to be you had 5 home games and 5 away games, but it looked like they had 4 home games and were on the road for 6. And so here's the deal. I'm looking at their schedule. It says they have 5 home games, 4 away games, and then the West game, they're saying on Coach T, is going to be at LMU's campus because this is the LMU showcase or whatever like that, which I don't mind traveling up there, but I'm really shocked that Bearden would give up a home game, especially with how much revenue they could make off that game with all the kids from West.
Those games are played on Saturday. That is the game to go to on Saturday. The past couple of years that we've been doing the Saturday game, it's been just packed.
We got to drive up to Harrogate.
Well, I've got to get that. Coach T could be wrong. Coach T could be wrong. So yeah, I mean, but it's looking like that. But it's like, why would you have that game up there? No disrespect. When I love when the games are at West and at Bearden. You know, Bearden has that one side, and it's like really right down the middle. There, you know, you got West and the West band and Bearden and the Bearden band, and they're all fighting against each other. I mean, it's just a special atmosphere at Bearden's, and then at West, you got one side barking at the other side across the field. I mean, you know, it's just, why could you not have that at the home game? So I don't know. So I got to get that. Solidified.
Yeah, that one just doesn't make sense to go all the way up there for that game. It does not make sense one bit, because that is the moneymaker of the season for both of our programs, for both of those programs.
Yeah,
I've ran a scoreboard for those games, and it is standing room only.
I mean, you got them around the track even too, you know, and so.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I know over at Bearden they won't let you go to the other side of the track, where they now use the far side over by the practice field as the home side, so they can get crowd participation on the bleacher side.
Yeah,
and, you know, all of our years through the programs and everything,
we were on that side. Bearden was by the stands. Oh,
yeah, they just made that change 2 seasons ago with Coach Wells coming in, and I mean, that threw me off.
Yeah,
but you know, it made sense. You wanted to get the crowd involved, but it's just weird to me. It
is. I mean, like I said, obviously, if you know, I guess they rotate. Like, there's some years they're at West, and then they have the Farragut home game, like last year, and then this year they'll be at Farragut, but they have West at home, or you know, I mean, it would.
Yeah, normally those are home and home every time. Always a home and home, especially with those. I mean, for Beer and Farragut, they call it it's like the 6 or 7 mile operator. I can't remember the exact distance. It's like right on the mark. The factor in however, see, it's probably whether 4 miles to west from, oh, shoot, like that. Now I think about it, because I grew up 1.5 miles from Bearden, but went to West, and that was maybe another 3 mile difference. So, man, those are right there.
Oh, yeah, they're all right there. And here's the other thing, too. Last year, what was interesting was West's home games were Bearden, Farragut, you had Alcoa, Halls, and Powell. I mean, we had a really good Gates in the regular season, and those were all big matchups, you know, and they were close. Now what's going to be interesting, if you look at the schedule, you've got Clinton, you've got Maryville. That'll bring, you know, people to the game. Central will bring people, I'm sure. You know, Kevin Lane's return back to West and so forth. Heritage, that's not going to be that probably big of a crowd. Anderson County could bring people. Anderson County travels pretty well, so. You know, I mean, but those are your 5 home games.
Heritage is homecoming, so You know what I'm saying? Heritage, that's a 27, so that's a Friday night.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest game on the schedule, in my opinion. Everything else is rough.
I pulled up Bearden's schedule from last year. They had their home games.
The Maryville game, I think, could be a tough.
It was
Maryville and Central back to back. This is like old school, like way back in the days where you played Central and Maryville back to back. Like, Maryville Central, like, ugh.
And look what you're coming off of: Bearden, Clinton, and Farragut. All three of those teams, especially Bearden, they're solid. I mean, so yeah.
That's a tough.
It's a very tough schedule. But you know what? We ain't afraid to play anybody. I mean, they are playing the best. And you want to know something? No disrespect to this program, but somebody asked, why aren't we playing Fulton? I hate to say it, Fulton's, you could get back there, but right now they ain't anywhere near where they used to be. And last year in the Jamboree proved it. I mean, we took our starters out after the first drive, and with backups, we still won 21-0. I mean, and that was just in one quarter of a Jamboree. So, you know, and we've proven the last couple of years that when they were on the schedule, it was done with Fulton. So until Fulton gets back to that level to play with West, that doesn't get us prepared for the Pages or whoever's on that other side of that state, like Henry County or anybody like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I never realized that they didn't play Fulton. But I do remember this. I do remember that scrimmage, the Jamboree.
Yeah, last year. Yeah, and we beat them. I mean, it wasn't even a contest.
Yeah.
So. Go to Bearden's schedule, Shane. What was that you were saying about
it was only 4 home games.
There was only 4 home games.
They did get home field advantage, but they only played 4 home games. Let me pull that back up real quick.
Well, and so then here's my question. But so don't penalize them. I mean, they made that decision for whatever reason. I think it's only fair that they have 6 home games this year.
I think I could be wrong on this. I want to say they did back-to-back at West, the 22 season and the 23 season.
They did.
So last year should have been a home game.
Should have been.
I think what happened, I think this is what screwed the whole thing up. Go back to COVID year when my daughter plays. It's been her freshman year. When Bearden had to suspend everything for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, like we had to do the forfeit. Like your team tested positive, you forfeit.
And wasn't that game supposed to be at West, if I'm not mistaken? I think it was.
So then it's threw everything off, and I don't know why it hasn't been fixed yet. But it's definitely been back-to-back years at West for Bearden. So this will be the first. If they don't host this year, it would be really weird. And then drive both teams from West Knoxville up to Harrogate, or for like. Wow.
I mean, I don't care if it's on a Saturday. That's still a drive, you know. Like you wouldn't pull that on a Friday, you know. So I mean,
and then like you lose concessions and revenue and ticket sales and all that, like because that's you're going. I mean, you'll get your ticket sales, but normally that money goes like there's obviously the revenue split between teams and stuff, but you lose all your concessions, and that's a huge game because it's the only Saturday game. It's just like rivalry Thursday. Everybody comes to those Thursday night games. And then, you
better keep that period.
But I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
I think Bearden would be making a mistake of letting that game be played in Harrogate. I'm sorry, that's a lot of money that they'd be losing on that.
The only way I can think of is that I mean that's going to be televised. That's going to be what that's Mark Packer saying. Pac-Man Productions.
Yeah, it's the rivalry Thursday, but on a Saturday.
They're doing some sort of revenue share and everything, and they're going to split everything or give Bearden majority somehow. I don't know, but it doesn't make sense for everything that's located in West Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
Go all the way to LMU.
Well, and you want to know something? Last year's game was special also from a standpoint that it was the Wreath for Vets thing that Dave Gahn does and so forth. And you know, apparently it raised some money, but it really didn't do as well as they thought with how many people were there. I think if you have it at Bearden and do it again and maybe do it on a 7:00 night game or something like that. I think
that old Coach Gahn, the soccer coach, he leads that up.
Yep, he does.
He was shocked that I was a veteran. I was like, you were my 9th grade science teacher. Of course, I donate because I've had my kids go out to the cemeteries here for our veterans, and we go lay wreaths during that time.
And he runs the press box, and he runs it very professionally at West. Every Friday night, he takes such pride in making sure it's clean and respectable. And him and Carrie, I mean, they do such a great job over there. I love being up in the box with those guys, and I'm looking forward to the band getting back together soon here in a couple of months too. So it's gonna be real special. I look at this Friday that some guys can announce themselves. And, the other thing, too, is don't think like you're just going to walk in there, too. Those guys have something to prove. They know, if anything, they're going to be hungry to prove themselves against the back-to-back champions. Nothing's been given to you guys. Now you got to work for this trophy, and this is the first team in the way. Even though they're not in your classification, they're in the way. So, and you need to kind of send a message to everybody. We're back, simple as that. So, honestly. We didn't go nowhere.
Definitely did not go anywhere.
The other thing I was going to ask you about, what do you think the identity could be of West this year? Obviously you've got these 4 guys that Coach Brown was interviewed by 5-Star Preps, and shout out to Jesse Smithy and all the guys that work there and all the hard work and stuff they do for all the sports and really showcasing these young men and women. But he mentioned Parker Dubon. He mentioned Cannon Dowd. He mentioned Jack Harrison. He mentioned Ian Crook. And so you look that you've got 4 guys that could be the starter, and you're probably only going to see 3 of them, taking the reps unless somebody separated themselves over these last couple of weeks. I don't know that, but it almost makes you wonder, are we going to be a more run-heavy team with like a Messiah Wren or a Tavion Ray or whoever else is running the rock, or are we going to be more of a passing team? Or is it going to be balanced? Because last year's team, although wasn't as flashy as the year before, still managed to average 29 points a game on offense. And realistically, you had Hunter Dance throw for 1,780 yards. You had Marshawn Bowers run for 1,064 yards despite missing 2.5 games. And Devin Jameson also missed 2.5 games, and he did 575 yards. So altogether, you had almost a very balanced offense of passing and running the ball. And then, of course, your defense was just incredible, only allowing 152 points all year and 11 points a game with 3 shutouts. I mean, that was the defense led by Scott and all them boys. So
I find it weird as a 4-man competition at quarterback. So to me, that sounds like it's going to be who's a game manager, and we're going to be a run game. That's what that sounds like to me. You should already kind of know who's going to be your dude. But you got 4-man battle. Sounds like it's going to be run dominant, who can manage the game, who can make the plays when we need to, but let's run out the run game.
I like that. 2-Pair, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to be very heavy run oriented, and I feel like they're going to be very play action oriented too. Like I feel like they can mix a lot of that up to where the run game is going to be set up for play action, and
let the play action set the run game. Let the run game set the pass game. Which run.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and you've definitely got the guys to do it. You really do. And realistically, I'm just kind of going off of the guys from last year. I don't have a roster for this year. That's what's going to be so special about Friday, that we're going to be watching it. And if I get a name, I'm going to write it down and be like, this was a key play, and we'll talk about it afterwards. That's the biggest thing, more than anything. And there could be a guy here that we've not even talked about that was a freshman that might have just really blown up and is going to be a super soft or something like that we don't even know about. So yeah.
All right. It's the beauty of the game, man. The beauty of high sports. You never know. Like the fact I can't believe like I'm in a time frame where we are talking about spring football of the defending back-to-back champ. Like, how cool is that to say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and the fact that we're talking about Philip Fulmer's grandson is a rising sophomore at West, and he's listed as a linebacker, and if he runs the ball, 6'2", 180 pounds. Can you imagine that bull like coming at you or whatever on the goal line, or stopping somebody? I mean, we've got some big dudes. And they look the part. I mean, I look at a Kaywood Rose, also 6'2", 180 pounds. Davis Neely, 6'1", 173. These are some studs out there. Got to give a shout out also to my guy Sam Lavelle, who's a sophomore, and Jack Keith. Even though they're about 5'8", man, they'll hit you like anybody. They'll hit you like a truck, man. Honestly, they ain't afraid of nobody. So. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm a big fan of Jack Keith, man. Especially on the basketball court, and with basketball coming up shortly.
That just shows how athletic he is. He plays 2 sports, man. I mean, that's awesome. So yeah,
hell of an athlete. Hell of an athlete.
Yeah, I also will say this much. I'm intrigued by also. Messiah Wren at running back and Tavion. I don't know if there's another running back that might be in the mix. That's the other thing too. You don't also know who's running the ball, but those 2 guys were next in line. And I've already kind of nicknamed them Thunder and Lightning, if that's who's going to be your 1-2 punch, because Messiah Wren can definitely hit that hole fast and probably has that speed like his brother. And then you've got Tavion Ray, who is just a big running back, 6'1", 190 pounds. So, I mean, and, I'd like him to get lower when he runs the ball. I'm sure his coaches probably preach that because you got to protect your legs being a big back. But, man, when he played, he really had good games against Central and Heritage last year, while Bowers and Devin Jameson were out with their ankle injuries. So,
yeah. What I've seeing recently is teams going with a 3 system backs.
Mm-hmm.
You save your main dude. He doesn't run less chance of injury.
Yep.
But just because I watched a lot of Beard games last year, they had 3 studs, and then when the Purdue commit went down with injury at the Hardin Valley game, they brought in a freshman, the quarterback's little brother, and he dominated.
He did good. Yeah.
So it's good to see teams go with the 3 system backing.
Yeah. And I know that for Bearden, I know that there's going to be a lot of talk of Jason Thompson, and rightly so. He was a stud.
Yeah. He stepped in for
Merriweather. Merriweather was the
Merriweather. Yeah. He stepped in for him and dominated. Then you had I can't remember who Jason's backup ended up being, but then you had Parrott's little brother. Drawing a blank on his name now, but I mean that kid came as a freshman and got significant carries. I mean, it was clean up time, but he break through a hole with the JV squad out there, while some teams are still running their varsity downfield.
I guess they've got so many good players for them, but I guess the guy that's probably one of the big studs on that defense this year for Bearden is going to be Kai Ironside from that famous family that's always had good players over there.
I've known Kai forever. Love that kid. Coached him. Great family. Comes from a football family. The Ironsides are great people.
Yeah.
Kai has dealt with a bunch of injuries over his football career. So curious if he actually plays next year. Kai's had more shoulder surgeries.
Wow, I didn't know that. All I know is that his name gets called every time when he's playing West. He's always in on the.
He was starting running back and linebacker his sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
And Kai runs with a different type of aggressiveness. That kid will fight for every yard. Love that kid to death. Took a hit from him in elementary school, and I busted my mouth wide open.
Wow.
That kid will lay the wood to you every time.
Oh, I see it. I see it on defense. Yeah. I mean,
coachable kid, amazing. He actually, freshman year, he went and played at McCallie.
Oh, really?
Yep. But then they brought in some 4-star stud out of Florida, and he came back up here to Bearden so he could play with his older brother, Magisha, number 0 for Bearden last year. So.
It's crazy to see, like, the private schools specifically, Catholic, obviously they're having to do it because look what they're going up against. I mean, Baylor, McAllee, the Battleground Academy over there in Middle Tennessee. Those places have dorms for people to like live. Catholic doesn't have that, you know what I mean, type of a thing. So I think they bit off more than they could chew, to be honest with you. I think. I mean, I don't know. So but they get the guys. I mean, there's probably some kids that are at Catholic that might be at West, if they went to their zone or whatever.
As Coach Cummings used to say, if it wasn't for Catholic and Webb and CAK, West would have the best players in our day. Yeah. Yep. I mean, they even have their own buses pick up kids to take them to school. So like that's what your tuition gets you. Or 20,000, whatever it is. So yeah. I remember going to a track meet at Webb, and they were doing a fundraiser for $5 million. My jaw dropped as a middle schooler. I'm like, you're raising how much money? Yeah, we're not talking 5,000. We're talking for a pancake breakfast. We're talking 5 million. So yeah. Well, and let's be fair. All operating cost for a high school right now is 6 figures. You're looking at 120, 150 grand a year. That's operating costs for a high school program right now. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then look at their facilities. They have 3 gyms over there. What schools need 3 gyms? I mean, they got that operating cost that's just like for West, Bearded, anybody. Like the operating cost is outrageous. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. Deals, buses, all that stuff. So, yeah. It's definitely up there. I mean, so, let me ask you this. And I've obviously reached out to a couple of our former guests that have been on here, guys that are fans of the show and so forth. I hope we can make it out. I know it's tough. Corryton, 6 o'clock at night, people getting off work Friday. But if you can make it, go. Honestly, if anybody that's watching this, if you can make it, go. It'll be fun. The weather's going to be great. It wasn't looking so hot earlier in the week and last week, but it's looking like it's going to be 49 degrees by the time sunset happens or what have you. And a high of 73, partly cloudy, perfect football weather. No rain at this point. All that should be out of here by Thursday. So I'm excited to see what happens, honestly, and would love to see everybody, come out that watches the show and, give us a shout, say hello and so forth. And I just look forward to just seeing what the team looks like and how engaged and focused they are. And, the fact is that it's already started. I've always felt that the quest for a title starts in what you do in January in the weight room. Now this is the second block with the spring practice where you get the pads, you learn the playbook, you incorporate what you want to do as an offense and everything like that. Then after spring, you can't get lazy. I know it's summer, the pool, beach, fun with your friends. At the same time, man, those morning workouts are huge in the morning and so forth. And then that gets four quarters. 4 quarters. Yeah, absolutely. Every time, that's your first quarter, get strong. Spring, second quarter, you get a little bit of break before we hit. Then you got the summer workouts, but you're not truly having to worry about getting the pads on. Third, get that little halftime break. Once the dead period hits, third quarter where you show up and make those adjustments. Mm-hmm. Quarter, it's all about it. It's go time. It's go time. And overtime, and if you get to overtime, playoffs and championship. So that's it. So, yeah. It's a year-round thing, man. It is a year-round thing. But I just think the culture of this program from the top, the support of the school and the administration, the parents, everything they do and contribute. I mean, Saturday mornings, they go in and clean the locker room. You know what I mean? Like, that's just amazing to do that and make sure that the facilities are just spot on to make that place a beautiful background for football every week. Honestly, it's an amazing facility. It really is. So, yeah, I can't talk about it enough, honestly. So, I wanted you to talk about what's coming up next week for our basketball Rebel teams and so forth, because, as football wraps up,
this week with the spring scrimmage, and obviously graduations are coming up. There's a lot coming up for this kids that are coming back in all the sports. And I just want you just to kind of key us in on that, Bud, and the Rebels with a Cause family.
Yeah, man. Big news in the basketball world of things for the Rebels when you look at what's been happening. We do have them on, let's see, we have them with their first practice going to be May the 13th. So let's get all that info to the kids right here.
So that's Monday. Okay.
Yeah. May the 13th on Monday. And then Thursday, May 23rd for rising freshmen. So for the current students, the Jalen Hills, the Christopher Cowens, the Reese Clarks, the Garrett Birch, who, getting through rehab right now on that ankle. Because, dude, when he's in the rhythm, this team can go. Devin Martin getting his first offer from Kentucky Christian University.
All right.
Yeah, in his first offer. So this summer is that summer push for Devin and that junior class with Jalen Hill. You know what I'm saying? This senior class coming up, and then Kevin Jack as well. Like we got to see what's going to be out there. I think it's a ton of talent. The guys that I'm really pushing for are I'm a big Kalufo fan of the Prince of Zamunda. Is just his toughness as a freshman. He'll guard, he'll defend, he can run the show. Dane Clark, the paper boy.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a big jump for him.
Every time you say paper boy, I think of ATL.
As a sophomore, I feel like this is going to be his big jump year, where going into your junior year, you played meaningful minutes in some big games. So I think the paper boy is going to be a great backup now for like Devin and Schuler. I think Christopher Cowan's got to see more of the floor.
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be a rotation with Cowan, Clark, Birch, and Schuler. I want to see what that rotation would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see just what it would look like. I would tinker with some things, just to see what that type of. I want to see different rotations to where this team could be successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see just them spread it out with the wings, because you got Malik out there that could also not only defend, but also brings energy off the bench and so forth. I mean, I almost, like I said, I didn't like the three big men at the end. You got to have, if you're going to play two big men, one of them, like a Devin Martin, out and hit the three, and Kevin Jack has shown he can hit the three, but a guy like that needs to be underneath the basket, cleaning up the boards and either putting it back, kicking it out to a shooter and hitting a three. Honestly, that's what somebody needs to be doing down there. So.
Yeah. I feel like next year Malik Wilson will get a ton of minutes. I got to see more Robert Schuler scoring more, because I feel like Robert Schuler could really be more effective scoring. Like from what I saw from JV to what I saw in varsity, it's like on this team, he's probably not going to be your scoring guy. He's going to be probably your 3-and-D guy now. You know what I'm saying? Or your Joe Duprees are going to be your just specialists. But it's like, I want to see a rotation where we can be in space with Reese, Clark, Birch, Schuler, Martin. Then Jack, Cowan, Hill, you know what I'm saying? Tinker with that a little bit. Tinker with those lineups where you can put Joe with that lineup, and then you can even switch a Dane Clark, because I feel like Dane Clark's gonna have a jump. It's like, and then I feel like once Garrett Birch ankle rehab goes through great, like I think he should be good for the summer because this is a big summer for him. And dude was probably our best shooter. Besides, I think it's between him and Dupree, maybe, and Schuler third as our best shooter of the basketball.
Well, and I'm going to tell you this too. If the basketball team don't need any more motivation of how disappointing the season ended or whatever, did anybody see 5-star preps today? They released their 3 teams of stars. Not one West player was on any of the 3 teams. And I was shocked that Devin didn't even get mentioned. They even mentioned the 6'9" Maryville guy. I'll pull it up. Keep talking. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up to you guys.
So Devin didn't get it. Devin didn't get it.
No. I'm gonna. I mean, the first team is gonna be the guys that you're used to. Honestly, Javin Carter, all the Fulton guys. But yeah, just give me 1 second. I'll be more than happy to share this with you. So
not one West guy made it.
Not one, and I was shocked. I was really shocked. So it was
Kevin Martin wasn't on that list.
Not one. Yeah. So here was your first team.
Mark wasn't on that list.
Yeah. Let me just read this to you. So first team was Javin Carter, who was also Player of the Year. Ty Glasper from Gatlinburg Pittman, Jr. Shane Cherry, Jr. from Austin East. Tyler Lee, Fulton, Sr. Taj Kimber, Fulton, Sr. Denaj Kimber, Fulton, Sr. Jordan McCullum from Harriman, Sr. Now that was the first team. Now let me give you second team. Caden Windle, William Blunt, Sr. Cade Capps, Stone Memorial, Jr. Kyle Cloninger, Morristown East, Senior Guard. Jonathan Woodell, Maryville, Sophomore Guard. Trey Thompson, Greenville, Sophomore. Jalen Pompey, Webb, Jr. Cade Murphy, Catholic, Sophomore Guard. Now we're going to third team. Justin Nordine, Bearden, Sophomore Guard. Carson Bolton, Jellicoe, Senior Guard. Drake Ingram, Webb, Senior Guard. Condis Cherry, Austin East, Freshman Guard. Alex Acard, that's the 6'9" guy from Maryville, Senior Forward. Chris Bozeman from Karn, Senior Guard. And last but not least, Cooper Williams, Oak Ridge, Junior Post player. Those were your 3 teams from 5-star preps. Not one West player made it.
How you going to be a 6'9" senior and only score 11 points a game?
So you're telling me Devin Martin, you're telling me Reese Clark,
Mm-hmm.
you're telling me Jalen Hill. Those are 3 district guys.
Yeah, they were all district, yes. Yeah, not one of them made the 3 teams that was announced by Jesse Smithy today. There wasn't even an honorable mention team that maybe they could have been on. But those were the 3 teams and the players named.
Devin Martin and Reese Clark. These dudes were all district.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're scoring 20s in the 20s a lot of the games.
We see Devin Martin look like one of the best players in the city. Like, there's been games where he looked like he was the best player on the floor. Mm-hmm. We've seen games where Reese Clark looked like he was the best player on the floor.
The Austin East game that you called over there at Austin East, the beatdown that we did.
The beatdown.
Yeah.
30 ball.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
30 ball.
Yep.
30 ball.
Yep.
And no disrespect, because those dudes are the best backcourt in the country.
Mm-hmm.
When you see Shane Cherry, when you see Condis, yes, give them all their praise. Like,
sure,
them dudes, they are the best backcourt in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you on the AAU circuit, on this Under Armour circuit, they are frying guys. That's why I'm saying, yeah, those dudes are first team.
Yeah.
The big 3 at Fulton, first team. Them dudes been first since they were in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
watch those kids play since 6th grade.
You know what I mean? Like, those dudes have been good. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I don't have any. No, those dudes are there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, as far as when you look at the talent that West has, and then you look at some of the games against said talent that was on first teams, it's like they lose the AE by, what, 2?
2. Yeah.
Saw them again a few days later.
And won by 30.
And won by 30.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't have it both ways. Like,
yep.
But when you look at the talent the AE possesses, and they have the best backcourt in East Tennessee, yeah, them dudes got to make it. You know what I mean? I have no problem with that. Yeah, I'll acknowledge that. That's the best backcourt in the country, and they're in East Tennessee. And you know what I'm saying? One's a senior, one's going to be a sophomore. So it's like that is so impressive. And then you look at that big 3 at Fulton that won back-to-back. And you look at the coaching staff to now, like we said last week, Jarrell Hayward gets the preparatory school job, being an assistant coach, winning at Vine, then being an assistant coach, being a head coach at Vine, winning the championship, then getting to Fulton, going back-to-back as an assistant coach with those group of young men. Like, to show that he did that, and now you're going to be at the preparatory school, all boys school, preparatory. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting really good. And I look at a guy like Devin Martin. He gets offered by Kentucky Christian University. You know what I'm saying? That's the first. It's going to be the first of many offers.
Exactly. Yeah. And anything, and any of the boys on this team, just use that as motivation. So Jesse Smithy and the 5-star preps guys can learn your name and know who the hell you are next year, honestly. So that will never happen again. Hopefully you're hosting up a gold ball. So that's it. So, yeah.
Jalen Hill's not one of the better guards in the class of 2025.
I guess they didn't have him listed.
Reese Clark is not one of the better players in the class of 25.
I mean, use it as motivation. I hope the football teams use that preseason number 7. You know, I mean, just like I said, it means you need something.
I'm for real. In football and basketball, they should not have any problem. Like, as good as they are, like, that's what I'm saying. A guy like Jalen Hill, who is an extreme talent and one of the best players in the district, he's not getting looked at as a he's having a great spring right now
with the AAU. I've heard that they're doing really good, that AAU team. So, and they're building chemistry too. So,
like, I'm looking at the highlight tape right now. Like, he's getting busy. He's a dog, man.
Yeah. And they just need to have that attitude every game. You know, every game go out there. Because here's the thing. Yeah, Shane Cherry's back, but you don't have Javin Carter anymore. You don't have the trio over at Fulton. You know, now it's your time to shine, honestly, especially in 4A. You know, William Blunt lost a lot of players, you know, from that group. You know, Bearden's going to be good, you know, with Nordine and all that sophomore class. They're going to be good. But realistically, you guys are the senior class, and you owe Maryville a couple next year. You owe Maryville a couple next year. Take that for whatever it's worth.
But I would say this because
they
people to watch. I really did like Nordine at Bearden. He was tough.
Solid.
He was tough as hell. I'm talking about that kid is tough. Like, I would have loved to have him at West. Oh my God, Nordine was the truth over there. Like, if there was some guys on that Bearden team that you want, and of course, my guy that played at Pal and then played in the NFL.
Lee Smith?
Man, Lee Smith.
Oh, his son Brody, who's now going to go to Maryville. So, yeah.
Man, I want to tell you something. You want to talk about one of the best athletes I think I've ever announced, Lee Smith, who, like, played at Pal and was an incredible football player and great basketball player.
Didn't he go to Virginia Tech, if I'm not mistaken?
No.
Marshall,
thank you.
Lee Smith, man. Yeah.
You know who I'm thinking of that went to Virginia Tech? The big receiver that was Aiden Green that was so good for Powell a couple of years ago or whatever. Yep. He's at Virginia Tech. So, yeah. He's in the 2 deep to start for them as well, Virginia Tech. So, yeah.
I think that quarterback went to Cincy?
Yeah. Yeah, Potts. Yeah.
Yep, Potts.
Yeah, Potts. Yeah.
They were both at a camp that my kids went to, kind of finishing up their high school career and just ball out.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing too. To go back to football real quick, that Powell West game, man, that has become such a rivalry game. Honestly, like it really is, like to determine who goes to state in 5A, and the fact that you've at least won 3 in a row. Because I ain't gonna lie, Powell had it over on you, except with that Walter Nolan game and so forth. So, but other than that, you held your own against Powell. I mean, you did. So, yeah. I was going to ask you guys something. Looking at West's schedule, is there a game there on that schedule that you just think to yourself, without even knowing what we're going to be seeing on Friday, no chance West wins? No chance West wins.
No chance West wins?
Yeah, no chance West wins.
I don't know how good Anderson County is, and
they're losing a good group of guys.
The game that worries me, I feel like it's a trap game, is the Central Maryville, like that back-to-back, going Maryville Central back-to-back.
I thought Maryville's on a decline, though.
Trap game. Like, that's tough. That's 2 back-to-back weeks. Like, that period of Farragut to Maryville to Central is, if we can get out of September, I'll feel fine. We got to get out of September. September is going to be rough, man. Yeah. That is it. Those 4 games define it.
Shane, you brought up Maryville's kind of on a decline, and you might be right, but I'm going to tell you this. They're putting their eggs in this freshman class. The freshman quarterback was pretty good for them. The freshman quarterback was pretty good for them. They came on late. Yes. They've got a couple. Now they got Brody going over there. Then you've on top of that got they have another big kid that's like a sophomore who's a huge offensive lineman. I think they found a couple of tailbacks that are. I think that Price kid is back at tailback for them, and then they found another guy that was a young guy that stepped in when the Air Force commit was out for a while and so forth with a broken leg, and he rehabbed like crazy.
He came back and dominated.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just saying that they've got some guys. It feels like they always do, but West has beaten them 2 years in a row. And when the hell could you say that? I mean, I don't think that was ever done.
Yeah, I've got the schedule pulled up. Yeah, that Bearden game, it's always been tough. It's never been an easy game.
Yeah,
because I mean, it's first game jitters, all that
rivalry game. I mean, it's always been
Thinking what would be a trap game. If Halls builds on what they did last year and gets over that hump like they did at midseason, that could be a tough one. Anderson County is going to pull in all the kids around there. That's always a tough team. Alcoa is Alcoa.
Mm-hmm.
Heritage kind of makes me wonder. Because you go through that gauntlet of Bearden, Clinton's been good. Farragut's always got players. Maryville is Maryville. Central's that is picking back up again. Heritage kind of, I don't know. Something about that game just kind of sticks out to me.
Plus, it's homecoming, so there's that and so forth. And are you looking ahead to Alcoa? I mean, there's, I mean, that's the other thing too. Like, if West, I mean, I don't want to say this like in such a arrogant way, but if West gets through that first 4 of the Bearden, Clinton, Farragut, and Maryville 4-0 again, like last year, I mean, because last year some people were saying maybe we go 2-2. You split those 4 games.
And we also don't get a bye week until after Alcoa.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's That's a lot of schedule. I mean, and that's the thing. We were so beat the hell out of last year. We got lucky that those were nagging, not season-ending injuries, but they were nagging injuries. And that bye week couldn't have come at a better week. And then after that bye week, literally West, got better. And that's when it really got turned on and so forth, the playoff run and everything. I mean, it was huge. So, yeah. I'm just saying. So something interesting. Like I said, I would love to go back to Pistol Creek and beat Alcoa. I would love nothing more than that because that would really.
I'm still mad at last year's Beard and Alcoa game and how that wasn't penalty.
That was Bush League.
Alcoa for the lights turning off.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to know something that I can say about Bearden? By the way, to lose to your rival after you were leading the whole game and lose on a heartbreaker Hail Mary. Okay. On short rest, you had Alcoa by the nuts.
Yeah.
And if you don't fumble near the goal line and put it in, it's done. Forget about them going down there and scoring and then the lights go out and, they hold on to win. If they don't fumble the ball and go in to score, Alcoa is not perfect last year. And they weren't. They actually still lost to Maryville. I forgot. They were 14-1. They didn't even go undefeated. They lost to Maryville.
Doing field operations and game day stuff, normally those lights are controlled by a main breaker. And they don't just turn off. Supposedly they were on a timer, and that game was delayed because of weather. But normally lights don't cut off till midnight. So
it was the hottest day of the year. They were taking water breaks at all the games that night. It was horrible. It really was. I was drenched through my shirt, and the game hadn't even started yet at Clinton. And they were literally having to give water break timeouts because it was 100 degrees pretty much. And we're talking, they even delayed the games 30 minutes to an hour, like what Shane's talking about.
So it was miserable at that.
It was horrible.
I mean the West Beardy game that Saturday afternoon. Oh.
Yeah, with the sun on you, but here you're at night, and it's still it's like a desert heat hot.
Because I think we were almost in a lightning delay. Like, was it full on?
Yes, because the heat lightning came later. Yes, I mean you had that to fight with too. We luckily got the game done because it was a running clock.
No, that one actually was pushed due to heat. It was the heat index was so high.
Yep. But yeah, to avoid the rain delay and the lightning delay, they just ran the clock because West was so ahead of Clinton. And they just ran the clock because it was like, let's just get out of here and get this game done. So we're not here till 1 a.m. or whatever. So,
But if I remember correctly, the rule is on that when the lights went out Alcoa, it's a 15-yard penalty on the home team.
And they didn't even call it.
Nope.
And they didn't even call it. So, yeah.
Get right back, fellas.
Yeah, no worries. So, two pair. We'll clue Shane back on the in chat box. If you got anything to say, please don't be quiet. Talk about what you want to bring up. If you want to talk Rebel football or Rebel basketball, bring it up. If you want to talk some NBA, what's going on in this game tonight, man? It's the Mavericks and the
Thunder.
Yeah. So what's happening in that game, by the way?
I had it here. Let me see. Right now the Thunder they're up 36-33.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll tell you one thing, to sum up the playoffs. We didn't get to talk about it because I knew what was going to happen. But man, did Miami Heat, man, they just didn't even care in that game 5. They were ready to go fishing. I mean, I know they were injured and everybody was out, but man, to lose by 30 points, I mean, I was just so upset with the Heat. I knew they would lose, but I was hoping they'd at least lose by 10 or something like that, not 30 points to the Celtics. I mean, that they just wanted to go fishing, I guess.
They went fishing quick. They went fishing very quickly.
No, we were just to clue you in, Shane. We were talking about the NBA playoffs, and like now that you got some pretty good second round matchups and so forth. And I'm going to tell you this: I guess Denver's now in danger of not going as the back-to-back like some of these other teams that we were talking
about. Put that work in them. The work on them.
The Ant-Man is eating. I'm telling you. So shoot. I mean, Denver. So
Ant-Man has became one of the top 5 players in a matter of moments. It's crazy.
LeBron's going to trade away draft picks to get Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Or he joins Minnesota.
Real spill.
Oh. Can we talk about LeBron's comments about how it's just a game after they lost or they went down in the series?
Oh, did he really say that? That was very. That was
Game 3 loss maybe or game 4.
It's just a game.
Yeah, we've never heard Kobe say that.
No. Mm-hmm. No, he'd be shooting in the gym. Are you kidding me? They lost, so shoot. I'll tell you this. I still remember how Stephen A. Smith clowned LeBron a few years ago when Cleveland ended up, I guess, winning the series, and then they were going up against Golden State, and rather he was just like, "Oh man, I don't even want to think about them right now." And it's like you already have lost, then, man. You've already lost if that's the mentality. It's like we'll worry about them. Yeah, we're ready for them or something. You say whatever and so forth, but you just don't be like, oh man, I'm just so I don't want to think about them. I mean, how can you not think about them? It's the finals, for God's sakes. So yeah, I mean, yeah. What'd y'all think about Wembanyama, Rookie of the Year, unanimous?
Easily, yeah, he deserved. Yeah. He's been amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like. He's really been just phenomenal. Like everything about him, man. Like I can't say there's ever been a player of that magnitude coming in, learning a whole different culture, learning a whole different game style playing, and came over here and dominated. Like and played limited minutes. The dude played limited minutes and did. Like, it's amazing to think about. Like really amazing to think about.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. I mean, shout out to Chet Holmgren too, because he proved me wrong. I didn't think that he would. Obviously he sat out all last year. He was injured. And I'm gonna tell you this. I know they lost on Sunday, and I hated it because I thought they had it. And but Paolo Banchero, my Italian brother, he is a bad dude, and he almost did it by himself, but he couldn't do it by himself. But I'm just telling you, these draft classes, the last couple of years, there is some talent like that is really gonna make this league fun. Honestly, I really believe that and so forth. I mean, between, Chet, Paulo from last year, this year, Wembanyama, Jamie Jaquez there at Miami Heat. I like this kid for the Mavericks, Derek Lively. He's pretty good too. So, yeah.
I like Lively, but my favorite rookie this year would probably be it's between Wemby and Brandon Miller. I like.
Miller. How could you forget? I mean, he just played on a bad team. That was the problem.
Very bad team.
Yeah, they stink. They're terrible. Yeah,
they stink.
Yeah, they're awful. Awful. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: the Celtics, did they play today, or is it tomorrow? They play the Cavs. I think it's tomorrow. I think they had to.
They played.
I bet you it's tomorrow because
they played them tonight.
Oh, is it tonight? Oh, yeah. Is it over?
Played. I'm trying to. I think Boston won, but let me.
Oh, I bet they did. I'd be very shocked if Boston doesn't win that series. So. Oh my God, they won 120-95. Holy crap! Oof.
Yeah, that was a blowout.
Oh, it really was. So shoot. Wow. Okay. Well. Yeah. Just in case anybody cared, Brown led all scores for the Celtics with 32. Tatum chipped in 18, White 25, Holiday 14, Horford, who's still playing, which is amazing, 7 points, Pritchard 16. So that was the scoring for the Celtics. And then for the Cavs, Mobley had 17, Mitchell had 33, Darius Garland had 14, Okoro had 11, Struss had 5, and LeVert had 4. And Thompson had 4, Morris had 3, and Niang finished it out with 4 for the Cavs.
Wow.
So yeah, but still 120 to 95. Yikes.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, man. So
that's pretty bad.
That Pacers-Knicks game was good last night. That was fun back and forth. I thought the Pacers were going to win it, but the Knicks, man, Brunson wouldn't let them lose last night. So
yeah. Brunson has been the Brunson burner to these guys, man. He's really been incredible. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Would never have thought, like, he's just been on a complete tear every game.
I'll tell you one thing. It's been probably years that the Knicks have waited for this type of moment, and so forth. And it's kind of interesting that they're having this type of a run on the 25-year anniversary when they, ultimately upset the Heat and went on that run without Ewing, of all players, and obviously lost to the Spurs, and Duncan got his first one, as did David Robinson, but still.
My favorite Knicks teams ever.
Yeah.
The start of their dynasty went through New York is crazy.
Yeah.
That's the same season that the fight happened with Miami.
Actually, that was 2 years before, or the year before, I think it was.
Have you noticed the
start? Grabs like Morning's leg or something.
Have you noticed the start of most dynasties happened in the major market cities?
Yeah.
The start of the Bad Boys dynasty happened in L.A.
Yep.
The start of the Jordan dynasty happened in L.A.
Jordan started showing out in MSG though.
The start of the Spurs dynasty was in New York.
Yeah.
It always starts in a big, like, market almost. Now, the Lakers dynasty started in Indiana because, but it was still an LA team.
Mm-hmm. And some could argue that the second run of the Lakers was in Boston. That's a major market when they were taking it from the Celtics. So, some could argue that.
Yeah.
Detroit took it from the Lakers for those 2 years. So the Bad Boy Pistons. So
that's why I was like, you could look at it in so many different ways when, like, if Dallas were to win a title with Jason Kidd, who won as a player, then win as a coach, that will be historic. I don't know if that I would love to see a Dallas-Boston type series. That would
that'd be
cool. Like Dallas-Boston, I would like to see a T-Wolves. T-Wolves Boston would be nice. T-Wolves Knicks would be crazy. That would be box office.
You know what? I would be fine with Dallas versus the Knicks because Kyrie returning back to New York, and everything like that. Even though he wasn't a Knick, he was a Brooklyn Net, and Kyrie is a bad dude in the playoffs right now.
Is he not? Yo, the shot over
dirty.
That might have been the shot of the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that's easily got to be the shot of the playoffs right now.
You want to know something? I don't think Kyrie gets enough credit for how they won that title. I know Draymond was out with the suspension and so forth, but realistically, though how big he was in that Game 7, against the Warriors that year and so forth like that was huge, you know, and
realistically 30, 40 a game. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and look what he had to do. He also had to guard, you know, if he wasn't on Clay, he was on Stephen. So, you know, so you're having to exert it on both
defense.
Yeah. I mean, but Kyrie, and I'll tell you this, like apparently, you know, he also has had the reputation of that he's not a good team player and everything. And it's fit in Dallas, and Luka complimented him and is glad to have him. And he's shown the younger guys the ropes and so forth. So it's all about fit, man. That's all it is. I mean, let me just tell you this once again, and we need to talk about it. And I hope anybody that's on the chat box would love to laugh with me about this, as will you guys. Once again, James Harden and a team with James Harden doesn't get out of the first round of the playoffs. I mean, what in the world right now? With all that talent, the Clippers lost.
Yeah.
And got blown out in that game 7. Got blown out, and they had the home court. LA basketball is done for the year, Two-Pair.
Yeah, real quick. It didn't even get past. Like, the Lakers got gentlemen swept.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So they got gentlemen swept. They were a no-show, really. The Suns got spanked by Anthony Edwards.
They were horrible.
And then a lot's being said about the whole Rudy Gobert and the you know, the birth of his first child. It's like, bro, it's the birth of his first child.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a little bit more things that are more important. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
I saw those comments today. It's like, oh, your kid will be there forever, but this is the plus. Like, no. I missed the birth of my first child. I still hate that. And she's 18 years old now.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
And did they win without him, which is even more sad? Like they won without him and still kicked the crap out of the Nuggets. So
Denver realizing they're gonna have to play real basketball.
Yeah.
Denver's realizing they're gonna have to play real basketball.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm gonna tell you this, man. Props to the Timberwolves. I didn't think that, you know, I mean, wow, they are doing it, man. They are. And I'll tell you this, I mean, I think that this Dallas OKC series will probably go 6 or 7 games. I don't know at this point because it's still game 1 and everything like that. But and Dallas is just really good in Dallas and so forth, as I'm sure OKC is good in OKC. But I say all that there's one series that I feel is going to be really lopsided. And I'm surprised that I'm even saying that there could be a possibility if the Timberwolves win game 3. That's a wrap, baby. That's a wrap. If they go into Mile High City and win that, forget about it. So, you know, because right now, if you were to tell me which series would be a sweep, it's going to be in Cavs, in my opinion. But I could be wrong about that. So, yeah.
I want to say, so they're going back to Minnesota. Yeah, because they won 2 on the road. Denver won. Minnesota won 2 on the road.
Oh shit! Never mind. I'm sorry, I forgot then. Because I thought that Denver was the 3 seed and Minnesota was the 2 seed. So it really was Denver was the 2 seed and Minnesota was the 3 seed.
Mm.
Oh my God! So the Timberwolves could make it a wrap in Minnesota. Holy crap! Wow. Well. Hey, speaking of rap battles, you guys fill me in. What's going on right now with the pop world of stuff? Rebels with a Cause also covers this stuff, so educate me, gentlemen. You all have the floor. What is going on?
Like, there's been so many singles and drops of new records. What is it? Is it This Is Us or? I don't know. I'm so lost because I've been trying to.
I've been following me. My best friend from the Marine Corps were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
So it started back in October.
Yeah.
With First Person Shooter with Drake and J. Cole.
First Person Shooter, that was right. And then Like That came out.
Yeah.
Kendrick.
No. Fuck the big 3. It's just Big Me.
Yeah.
I see why J. Cole dropped out.
I ain't got the energy for
removed 7-minute drill because
I ain't got the energy for it. That's why I would have dropped out too.
He knew it was about to get personal. He made a strategic move. It's like, nope, I'm done. I'm out. Y'all do your thing.
He didn't want none.
I've got all the tracks pulled up right now, starting from October 6th to May 5th. And that's leaving out the disc beat by Metro.
Mm-hmm.
So what started all this? Like, why is it just Drake just starting stuff, or what happened? So
there's drama between Drake and Kendrick for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Basically, it's kind of over like who's better. I mean, from a lyrical standpoint, it's going to be Kendrick all day.
Oh yeah, come on, yeah,
all day. And I am all about lyricism. But Drake is, I mean, Can't Deny is great. It's hit after hit after hit. But Drake changes up his style way too much to appease to whatever's hot at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I found it funny that this last one that Kendrick dropped or whatever, somebody put a meme out there. He just put Jimmy in the chair again or whatever like that and showed a picture of the Degrassi when he was in Degrassi or whatever. I lost my cookies.
Drake now stands for don't rap against Kendrick ever.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that was one of my favorites. So this has been going on. Can I give y'all the timeline?
Yeah, please. I mean, educate me. You got the floor. I'm curious.
So this started with Kendrick Lamar and dropped Like That. That was March the 22nd.
Well, that's where he was featured with Future, and then his feature. Shout to him and J. Cole.
J. Cole dropped 7-minute drill.
He had a show of hands.
That was on the 5th. That was on the 5th of April.
Yep.
And he apologizes for 7-minute drill on the 7th day.
2 days later?
So on the 7th day, you apologize for the 7-minute drill. Very strategic. Very strategic. Then J. Cole deletes 7-minute drill on April.
All platforms.
All platforms.
Wow.
April the 19th, Drake drops Push-Ups.
No, I thought that was the 13th.
It was the 13th?
I've got the screenshot pulled up. That's why I'm showing.
Oh, I got the screenshot too. So it was the 13th. I mean,
okay.
So she must be documenting this wrong. So it was the 13th. Then go ahead.
I've got Push-Up on the 13th. I've got Rick Ross dropping one, Champagne Moments, where he does the Photoshop Drake looking like Dave Chappelle, the Chappelle Show, and do the white character news anchor.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that track, but I think.
So Rick Ross did his. What day was that? So
that was the 13th, also.
That was April the 13th. That was on a Saturday.
Yeah, then Taylor May came out and it got pulled because that's the AI version where you use Pac and Snoop. And got the legal action. This is Drake dropping that one. And getting the legal action from Tupac's estate for using AI voice of Tupac in a diss aimed at Kendrick, telling Kendrick to step his game up.
Wow.
Then we got what? Euphoria was next, which I think is probably the best one so far. What do you think, BT?
I like Euphoria. I like Not Like Us. I like Not Like Us a lot.
Oh, the Let Me Make a Club Banger?
Yeah.
So all this is going on recently, even more so, and Diddy's still not in jail, but keep going. So anyway.
So you got Euphoria, which I think that's a good one. Then Kendrick pulls a move out of Drake's book with a back-to-back with 16 in LA. That one, the amount of if you look up everything, because I've dissected everything that's gone through with this one. 6/16 is the first time Kendrick performed in Toronto, so June 16th. There's a biblical verse tied with it when you refer to who Drake's baby mama is.
Ooh. Getting personal.
What her previous line of work was.
Ooh.
The verse basically says, "Don't lay with a prostitute or you become one." Another one I saw was 616 was the start of the OJ trial. Basically saying Kendrick just murdered this white bitch.
Wow.
There's a few other references. 616, Tupac's birthday.
Oh, that's right.
So 616 in LA is probably the most strategic one in my book when it comes to everything you can tie into it to take shots at Drake. But
it sounds more like a 187 than a 616, to be honest with you. So shoot.
But Meet the Grams and Not Like Us. Oh God,
yeah, that was wild. That was wild. Not Like Us is. I mean, even Rolling Stones were saying that Kendrick's won it.
Yeah, the win goes to Compton. Yeah. The Heart Part 6 from Drake, he made a reference to the girl from Stranger Things, and Kendrick never mentioned that. So did you just tell on yourself for proving of being a pedo?
Wow.
Because I've listened to all these tracks, I've listened multiple times, and I've gone through everything I can find just to dissect every verse. And
wow.
Yeah, they say the results are in. Kendrick won the rap war.
Oh yeah, without a yeah. I mean,
and then you've got Metro dropping the BBL Drizzy beat and opening up on SoundCloud for any person who drops the best verse on that gets a free beat from him. So you have every SoundCloud rapper using that beat right now.
Wow,
this is crazy.
So let me ask you this: so the last date that was dropped. When was that? The last song?
That would have been Sunday.
Okay, so that was the fifth,
because the beat came out, and then the Heart Part 6 came out, and I left out Family Matters from Drake that came out on Friday, which that one wasn't bad, but also if you start looking at writing credits, Drake's using ghostwriters and Kendrick is using his ability.
Yeah, his ability. So
yep.
Wow.
I feel like it's the entire rap world versus Drake, and they're all winning.
Wow. Well, maybe he could always create that Degrassi reunion. No, I'm joking. But anyway.
That was fucked up.
Unless
for Jimmy to walk again. They did, I promise.
I hear the lighter flick and Lil Wayne jumps on it, it's over. Or if that one that Eminem owes him comes out, it's done for Drake. Go back to the Take Care album and do stuff and stop trying to be hard.
Oh man, Weezy ain't getting in none of that.
This is just nuts. I mean, wow, but
Weezy ain't getting in.
We've never seen anything like this in a while, or I feel like this quickly, like I guess how people are dropping things and so forth. Because I know there's been battles in the past, but this seems like something different that's never been seen before. Am I wrong by saying that?
I would go Jay-Z and Nas. This is the last time I've seen something this back and forth. But I mean, Ether's still one of the greatest diss tracks I've ever heard. Put that up there with No Vaseline and Hit 'Em Up. So, but BT over here is a rap expert, so
yeah, he is. He is the rap expert.
You think so? You think
since you try to your goal is to put everybody on in the city and make sure that they get their recognition. I take your opinions very seriously.
Oh man,
I'd put you in a battle against anybody. Honestly, I'd take you. So, but
I'm not a battle rapper though.
I know, but you could probably come up with something on the fly though, and and especially if you knew the person, you could hit it hard where it hurts if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's just not my style.
You got a good memory, so yeah. But so.
I'm just my favorite is when it comes to lyrical content, and right now it's Kendrick. To me, hands down.
Yeah, Kendrick is. I mean, but this has been some of the best music though. We're in real time of one of the biggest rap beefs of all time.
It's brought the attention back to it, and people are invested again.
It sounds like it. Because there's everything on social media about it. Yeah. I mean,
now that one that Chris Brown dropped on oh crap, who was it? Was it Quavo? Yep.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. That! Oh my God! Like I've listened to some of Chris Brown's mixtapes, and I forgot just how hard he can go.
Chris Brown
is so multi-talented.
One of them goats, bro. Like that dude.
You talk about a guy with what he did in music or whatever. He always adapted, and he made the money. I mean, simple as that. So yeah, I mean, for sure. Yeah. Let me ask you this: did either of you guys happen to catch the? Just switching subjects real quick because I always like to talk wrestling too. Did anybody catch Backlash on Saturday by any chance?
I watched some highlights of it. I was a little busy with prom activities.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah, because it was like Paris time, so it was like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. The pay-per-view was, and I had stuff to do on Saturday. But
yeah, I caught up on TikTok and watched some stuff I can see. And I completely forgot that it was in Paris, but that crowd was amazing, though.
Yeah, no, the crowd was awesome for them, and I guess I'd overreact or react to. I wasn't so hot about the match card, but just the fact that WWE came and had a pay per view in my city, that's pretty awesome, honestly.
They had a pay per view in Knoxville.
No, but if they did, I'd mark out too. Oh. I wasn't impressed with that card, but the Paris fans, if you didn't, I mean, they were lit the whole show. Honestly, they were. The highlight for me is this impending bloodline civil war that seems like it's going to be coming with Solo Sikoa and the Tonga, and all that. Yeah. And it seems like they're doing like a bloodline civil war where the Usos are going to reunite with Roman, and it's going to be like that type of a thing.
Yeah, I think I've seen where The Rock becomes the wise man for, let's just call him the new bloodline.
Yeah, yeah.
Versus
the old bloodline.
Roman versus the old bloodline. Yeah. But then you've got your 3-on-3.
Mm-hmm.
You get versus Roman.
Apparently, there's a rumor that Rock might be the new head of the table for the new bloodline. Like he's the one that's put Solo up to this or something. Yeah. And then I think Jacob Fatu is going to join the old bloodline or whatever. Like when they
Rikishi back.
Possibly. Maybe Rikishi could be the wise man, like the new wise man and so forth like that. So, but either way, it's starting to shoot.
What Rikishi did for the Rock?
Games. Yeah.
Throw it back to the old Attitude Era. I did for you, Rock.
Because there was some personal stuff back then where he said, "Oh, shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty." I mean, that's what he said. He did. I did it for the Rock. I did it for. Oh, shut your mouth.
Yeah, when he hits Stone Cold or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's supposed to culminate at War Games Survivor Series, like with a 4-on-4 winner take all. I'd watch it. I mean, just to see, and probably bring Roman back in SummerSlam or something, just around SummerSlam time, just because he's filming that movie right now. That's what he's doing, from what I understand.
Yeah,
so.
He needs a break too.
Yeah. I mean, he's carried it for a while, and I guess the Cody match was okay against AJ Styles. I mean, AJ Styles wrestling a paper bag would be interesting. So, but
Cody can't carry a championship. He's not carrying.
He just can't. I mean, I and then he was on the ground crying afterwards. And if Larry Frank didn't have his show tonight that he was doing, he'd probably be on talking about how much he hates Cody Rhodes tonight or whatever. So, I asked Larry. I said, was he crying again after the? I mean, that's all this guy does is cry. So, I mean. Oh,
I think they caved to fan pressure on that.
They did.
That's what they did. The Rock pivoted really well when it came to how the fans were reacting. So he went to the heel move. but Cody's just not the. You can kind of tell with the game that came out that Cody's going to try to be the face of the company. So they already had it planned out, but it's time to bet. It's time to just back up the punt.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Damian Priest is the more interesting champion, and that wasn't supposed to be the case.
Yeah,
I mean, it really wasn't. So, but I've always liked Damian's work ethic, his look. He's done something with this Judgment Day thing. I think what screwed the Judgment Day up horribly is that Rhea Ripley freak injury. That was just
hit her shoulder wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Liv pushed her, and it's just like a freak thing that happened. And now it's like, was it you last week, Shane, that mentioned that there's some like props to Triple H, but he's still got Vince-isms in him and so forth like that? Is that what you said?
It's a little bit there.
Yeah.
But like, it's going away.
But it's still.
There's guys that want to come back because the Vince-isms are gone.
Yeah. And I feel like there's like a little bit of Young and the Restless going on with this Liv Morgan and Dominic thing or something, like she's going to be his new mommy or something like that. And I don't know. I just was looking at it and I was like, well, that's kind of Stephanie, because remember the knock on Stephanie was her and those soap opera writers they were hiring during the PG era and so forth. And it was just, bad. I mean, just bad stuff, not people that know wrestling, like the days when Jim Ross would write the show and stuff like that. And then like kind of like the behind the scenes news was that they non-renewed Jerry the King Lawler. So
I saw that. You were excited days out.
So I mean, I think that they're distancing themselves from a lot of the stuff. I mean, I personally laughed every time when Lawler would go puppies and all that stuff. Everything. I mean, but that was the Attitude Era. And, I know
he's let go of his wife at the time.
The cat.
From that,
he kind of practically did everything.
Like, they're distancing away from that era. Like, this is just a new era of WWE now to where
being back
more about the Attitude Era is slowly phasing. It's slowly phasing out.
Well, I like to see I'm curious when they go to Netflix how much it opens up. The Attitude Era was probably the best era if you think about everything that we've witnessed in our lifetime. Everybody goes back to that was peak WWE.
Yeah.
The Monday Night Wars, you had the Attitude Era, everything was good.
Yeah. And you had three promotions. You had three legit promotions. Yeah. I mean, ECW wasn't as well known, but damn it, they held their own and they had their own following. And the other two were rating their talent. I mean, they really were. So
ECW paved the way for what we see now and what we saw back then because Vince took the ideas once they went under. He saw that it was working, but you still had Vince controlling every aspect of it to make it like
I think you're right, Shane. It's going to be very interesting if I hear an F-bomb like on that Netflix. You know what I mean? Like if you see more of the stuff
with the Rock and TKO, like he's got some ownership in that, and also he's staying in character when he's doing his promos via social media. That's showing you which way it's headed.
Yeah, it's
going to be more adult. You look at the way everything is now in society and what everybody's exposed to and what we see compared to what we grew up with, it's more acceptable now.
It is.
You're going to see different. You're going to see stuff. I have a feeling that when it goes to Netflix, it's going to be a lot more adult-oriented when it comes to things. We're going to see things that we hadn't seen ever. But I'm positive that shit's going to be freaking entertaining.
Do you want to know something WWE can't forget? And I feel like, and no disrespect to kids, because you've got kids, I've got grandkids and so forth. And, I want this guy's shirt and everything. Let me just tell you this. You have a wrestler that is like some badass. I mean, just think about when we were teenagers, there were 20, 30-year-olds buying Stone Cold Steve Austin stuff. Yep. So don't tell me that they won't spend their money if there's a wrestler that, you get behind and, flips off their boss and everything like that. Like they'll buy the merch. I mean, so yeah. I mean, it ain't just about the kids. And
my son's got into it now And I'm like, dude, like just wait.
Yeah, just wait. I mean, honestly, he's a little bit younger, but like in terms of, it's interesting that your kid is now going to be like what we were when the Attitude Era hits. And this
my son's going into middle school. That's about the time frame, the Attitude Era.
Yeah, 96, 96, 97. Yeah, 96, 97 was that. So, yeah.
And like that's the peak era of Stone Cold Rock, Triple H.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All Undertaker just really taking off. You're seeing it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've got some wrestlers that are decent on the mic and look the part too, honestly, So, and if they take the handcuffs off, look out. I mean, honestly. So
you can see them slowly coming off, I think, Real Rock with his TKO ownership part and what he's doing in his social media promos lets you know which way everything is heading. Because he is flat out dropping every bomb he can. He doesn't care. And he knows he can get away with it because of where he is. Because even that one where it's like, oh, man, Cameron Stone's like, he basically said, I don't give a F what the production staff says. I'm done.
Well, and let me ask you this too, Per. Are you feeling more drawn to watching it again because of this partnership now with UFC and TKO as you were maybe 4 or 5 years ago? I know it was COVID, but maybe I'll go 6, 7 years ago or something before they didn't have fans in the stands.
Yeah, man, I feel like they've got my interest back because I'm seeing what happens at like every match, like the last night of Raw or like the last night of SmackDown. I'm going back and I'm rewatching it. You know what I'm saying? Like if in the beginning it wasn't like that, because it'd be like if I missed it, I missed it. Mm-hmm. Trying to watch it. It's getting you to come back to having a keen sense of what's going on and let you just really just watch what's going, like what the new WWE looks like under Triple H and what NXT looks like under HBK. Mm-hmm. Which I think NXT is becoming to be a better product too. Like it's becoming to be a better product and it's breeding stars. Mm-hmm. Like you're gonna see these stars up on SmackDown or Raw pretty soon, and it's like if they continue to keep breeding stars in NXT, that's like just the best option. You're treating NXT as your WCW. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So AEW wants to be in the class of WWE. But it's like it's still not seen as that type of promotion. Mm-mm. Where it feels like it's maybe just a souped up version of World Class Championship Wrestling is what it feels like.
A lot of money's being thrown at it for paying guys that are well past their prime, and it just sounds like WCW. I mean, it does. And here's the other thing too. It's funny that you mentioned about NXT. I think that where the disconnect was when Triple H was running NXT, Kevin Dunn would give up on a wrestler if he couldn't market them or something like that. Vince and Kevin, if they didn't like them, they were going to go nowhere. I think HBK and Triple H are on the same size, or I should say they're on the same page rather, that, hey, he was this successful here. Don't make him be something stupid over here. Push him. You know what I mean? And I think they're more on sync. So
try to change their gimmick up as they move from one to the other, but also allowing the guys coming from the other promotions, like the Japanese ones, to carry their gimmick over now. Mm-hmm. It's huge, like because you built that fan base off of who you were there. And if it doesn't work once you get over here, it's okay. Then you make the switch, but they're allowing them to carry over, which brings the fans over, which brings more. And once another thing going away from the way it was, let's go with Paul Heyman's Hall of Fame speech.
Oh, it's fire.
Goat level. Mm-hmm. But that's like you would never got that under Vince. Ever. No. But Triple H allowed him to be him, and that's what we're seeing now. And I'm actually glad to see Stephanie back.
Oh, I am too. I've got a question off the top of your heads because I have to look it up. Eric Bischoff's not in the Hall of Fame, is he?
I don't think so.
All right, here's the deal. You got to put that man in the WWE Hall of Fame because he was actually very interesting as Raw general manager from 2003 to 2005. He really was, and so forth. And
I almost wonder if there's bad blood there between who's left in the company.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. I don't know if
Bischoff make a huge bunch of changes, but
yeah. I mean, I don't think Triple H had anything against Bischoff. I mean, hell, Triple H was champion for the majority of those years he was general manager on Raw. So, I mean, and if anything, I always thought Stephanie had beef with old Heyman, and that seems to have been completely,
she married the wrong Paul.
Oh my God, I'm telling you. Well, all right, guys. Well, let me just say this: Friday night, 6 o'clock, Corryton. The scrimmage, West, Gibbs, us having a show, going to be something.
Are they charging to get into the scrimmage?
I've not heard. I've not heard. So, but I've got money. If they do, we party. So,
Don't ask what's in my cup.
Yeah.
If they do, we party.
We party. So, I say that all the time, like if you're around me or whatever, like that's like, oh man, we got the money, we party, we good. So, but
anyway, our night at Bull Feathers that turned into hitting closing at Con Joe.
Oh yeah, that was serious that night, man. Hey, that was a good celebration for the championship. And just think, you were still on the Bearden side. We can have that same similar, after this December or whatever. So Two Pair can come to Bull Feathers. We can karaoke together. It was fun. It really was that night. So yeah. But yeah, show up, and I'm excited about how this live show is going to go, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it and so forth. But Shane, any last thoughts, brother? Because I'm excited about Friday. I feel like a kid on Christmas.
I'm ready. I need my football fix with my son. Not sure if he's going to play this year, and I'm not coaching for the first time, so my spring's been up. I need some football. I need football.
I do too.
My evenings don't feel the same anymore. I'm used to coaching. I'm used to being at practice at 5:30. Not getting home till 9 o'clock. It's different. I need football back now.
We need to get him to play somewhere. We need to get him in the West Youth League if he needs to play.
He would be in the MAC League this year.
In the MAC League, wow. Okay.
So I need a West address.
I can get you one. I'll get you one.
Yeah, I talked about the other day. It's like, let me get your old number, Dad, and get your old position. I was like, you got to put on some weight, buddy. You're not running back. So he's got the footwork for running back, but he's only 70 pounds. So I'm like, yeah, you got to get some weight on you. But boy, can men run a playbook like that.
Well, that's half the battle right there. So, yeah. Two Pair, close us out, brother.
Yeah, man, y'all know what it is. It's Rebel with a Cause, man. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And we'll see y'all when we see y'all. Peace.
Always throw up that W, baby. Yeah. You know that Wes runs this thing. Always, man. So, yeah. Always throw up that W. So that's what it's all about right there. Wes runs this thing. We out.